I am, I am, I'm not going to bore you with the facts. Don't quote me on that.
An absolutely remarkable press conference took place yesterday that wasn't in the White House. It wasn't on Capitol Hill. It was in the office of the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, who is now Jeanine Pirro, the television host over at Fox News, who has found herself with actual power. It is remarkable. So it's kind of her first day on the job kind of a deal where she gives a press conference in the wake of Donald Trump's invasion of Washington, D.C., the military occupation of Washington, D.C., and she's being peppered with a whole bunch of questions. And there's no better place to start than here, where she says, I'm not going to bore you with the facts. And then begins to complain. It's all so beautiful. It really is. It's just the encapsulation of everything that's wrong with Donald Trump and Republicans and the Trump cult. It's just bananas. She says, I'm not going to bore you with the facts, then realizes in real time it was a dipshit thing to say, and begins complaining about the fact that her office has been decimated by firings and staff cuts. Never acknowledging that those staff cuts are because of Donald Trump, but nonetheless, it got her away from saying, I'm not going to bore you with the facts. Please, Jeanine Pirro, bore us with some facts. I would love to be inundated with facts from any Trump official whatsoever, since it's constant propaganda and lies and a rewriting of the very history of our country. Please bore me with some fucking facts.
A lot about it, but any special...
I don't have any special powers. I wish I did.
Can you talk about where you stand on hiring prosecutors and judges?
I am, I'm not going to bore you with the facts. Don't quote me on that. That was off the record. I can only hire during certain periods once there's been an ad or some kind of posting, and then I can hire. Okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing the best I can. The president has given me the permission to hire. This is an office that has been neglected. And I'll say it publicly. It's been neglected. With people signing contracts, they didn't know what they were signing. All right, it just kind of ran on its own. Not anymore. This is an office where nobody seemed to care that we were down 90 lawyers, 60 investigators, and paralegals.
I wonder, against all wondering, why there is a lack of prosecutors and general support staff in the office of the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. Could it be? Because of this headline from the New York Times, more than a dozen prosecutors at Washington U.S. Attorney's Office are dismissed. Those informed of their dismissals had been hired to investigate the January 6th riot as the office struggled to manage what became the largest prosecution in the department's history. All the people that don't work there anymore were fired because they investigated the insurrection against the country. They investigated Donald Trump's involvement in inciting an overthrow of the United States government in order to stay in power after he was not elected, not re-elected. Donald Trump fired the people that Jeanine Pirro is now bitching that she doesn't have. The Justice Department's campaign of retribution against officials who investigated President Trump and his supporters accelerated late Friday when the firing of more than a dozen federal prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, according to a department memo. And then you might ask yourself, well, yeah, who did that? Who was involved in that? There's no way that there's an incestuous relationship between all of these Heritage Foundation dipshits and Donald Trump's lust for power, lust for altering our culture, and the very foundational principles of America. No. It's got to be some outsider you've never heard of, right? Well, you probably never heard of him if you haven't paid attention to the recent battle to nominate and confirm Emil Bovee the ghoulish, lurch-like character who has now been confirmed to federal judgeship. Emil Bovee, the acting number 2 official at the department, offered no evidence those targeted had done anything illegal or improper or unethical. Instead, he cited a legal technicality. So she's complaining about Donald Trump. It's giving her something to talk about other than the fact that she just said the stupid thing about not boring you with facts. It's another Kellyanne Conway alternative facts moment, except this time it's from another TV host, Jeanine Pirro. Now, there was one good question here. I mean, this covered something that I think is important, but there was an actual very important question that was asked, and it's about crime prevention. Look, you're here to throw down the hammer and act as a propaganda distraction agent for Donald Trump, and so we don't pay attention to the Epstein files and the fact that they're not being released because Donald Trump's his name is all over them. We get that. But what about crime prevention? What about trying to circumvent and interdict people who could become criminals or could become committers of crime? What about crime prevention? And her answer is emblematic of everything Donald Trump. You know, they talk about homelessness, and their way to combat it is to just kick people out of their tents. Where do they go? They're homeless. They don't want to address the root causes of homelessness, of poverty itself. They don't want to do that. They want to just be reactive. No proactivity whatsoever with Donald Trump or the administration at all. And this is no more on display than her answer with derision and disgust as she acts like she's all about the victims. Being a party that creates victims doesn't help victims. Watch this from TV host turned U.S. attorney, Jeanine Pirro.
You just walked through the changes you'd like to see from the punitive aspects. What about preventative? Do you or the president plan to do anything to address the root causes of crime in D.C., such as truancy?
My job is to try to heal the victims and prosecute the criminal. Everybody else can deal with rehabilitating the individual. I honestly am not concerned about why they commit crimes. My concern is if they commit crimes. My concern is the victims of the crimes. That's my job as a U.S. attorney. Go ahead.
But just follow up on that quickly.
Is a felony.
You're honestly not concerned about why people commit crimes? Shouldn't we all be concerned about why people commit crimes so we can prevent that from taking place? It's like a doctor saying, I'm not concerned about why people get cancer. I just want to eradicate cancer. Well, wouldn't you want to prevent people from getting the thing that kills them? Wouldn't you want to prevent the crime that people become a victim of? You could prevent victims that you're so concerned about. I'm here for victims and giving them blah, 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 blah. You could eliminate them being victims. Or is that too highbrow and too high level for you, drunken Jeanine Pirro, disheveled Jeanine Pirro, fascist enabler, maybe fascist herself, Jeanine Pirro, Fox News propagandist, Jeanine Pirro, do nothing, know nothing, violator of not only the spirit of the Constitution, but the letter of the Constitution, when you try to convince Fox News audiences that due process is not for everyone here in the country, even though it says all persons, not citizens. Gross. Dereliction. Incompetence. Fascism. What do you think? I would appreciate your feedback on this commentary and analysis. You can provide your own below in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm on the last half of this year, I'm in a big push to get to 2 million subscribers. It's going to be a long, long haul. Maybe I should make the goal 1.5 million before we get to 2, but hey, let's swing big. I would appreciate your subscription. It is free after all, and it does help bolster the reach of independent media. I would appreciate it very much. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. Again, I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.